Welcome to the Department for the Aging's training module on tips for writing your proposal. In this module, we will discuss 9 tips on how to respond to a DFTA RFP. We're hoping that you'll find these tips helpful and that they will provide you with assistance on writing your proposal. It's a good idea to attend proposers' conferences, also known as the Bidders Conference. It will help you learn more about what DFTA is looking for. This provides you with the opportunity to ask questions, as well as hear questions and concerns from other proposers. There is also the potential to network with other agencies and build partnerships and collaborations. Another tip is to ask questions. If you have questions, don't wait. We cannot guarantee that your question will be answered if it's submitted too late in the process. Also, we may be able to issue an addendum to the RFP to clarify points that were not initially clear. One area where DFTA receives numerous questions is in the budget proposal worksheet, so review the worksheet and instructions early on in the solicitation timeframe. If you do have questions, ask them early on so that we can address them promptly. Information for the agency contact person will be listed on the RFP. Communicate who you are. Be clear in describing who you are. Assume that the evaluator knows nothing about your agency. Describe your agency's role in the community, and when you talk about your agency experience in the community, make sure that experience is relevant to the RFP. In other words, speak to how the community benefits from what you provide, and be specific about the services you currently provide. Communicate your intentions. Make sure the goals of the program are clearly defined and measurable. Discuss your program goals' overall impact on the community. Talk specifically about how the services you will be providing will fill a need that is laid out in the RFP. Use committing language. Make sure the reviewer knows what you are and are not going to do if you are awarded a contract. Try to avoid using phrases like "we might try," or "we hope to," or "we may add." This could indicate to a reviewer that you're not entirely committed to the program design you've laid out in your proposal. Oftentimes, what is proposed in terms of units and unduplicated clients far exceeds the program's capacity to deliver on those units. As a result, programs once operational find themselves underserving. If an organization uses grant writers, for example, those writing the proposals are not the ones delivering the services, we highly recommend the proposal writer be working in collaboration to propose reasonable and attainable units. Take into consideration space, changing demographics of the population, resources, staffing, and commitment of the volunteer pool. If space allows in the structured proposal form, justify your decision-making about your proposed units so that the reviewers can understand your rationale for where you got your proposed numbers. If a large sponsoring organization is submitting multiple proposals to the same solicitation, we recommend trying to make each proposal unique in some way, particularly when discussing your approach to working within the communities that are served by the catchment areas to which you are proposing. If submitting multiple proposals, each proposal must be able to stand on its own without consideration of another. You may win in one competition and lose in another, so it is essential that each program you are proposing can stand on its own. After contracts are awarded, if an organization wins more than one proposal, oftentimes DFTA will combine the awards for administrative purposes. Be consistent, not only within the narratives, but also between the narratives and the supporting documentation that you submit. For example, if you state in your narrative that you have a program director who has 10 years experience, then the resume submitted for that director should reflect this information. Best practice would be to reread your entire proposal using both the narrative, supporting docs before submission, specifically looking for unintentional contradictions. Include letters of support from older adults who have benefited from your program. This can be very powerful and set your proposal apart. Use relevant statistics when appropriate. For example, we serve 2,500 seniors who live under the poverty line and would not have access to hot meals if not for our program. If you add statistics or reference research in some way in your proposal in order to help justify a point you are attempting to make, add citations. Share your best stories about what you have accomplished. Show what you've done in this work. In other words, give examples of your work that support what you are writing. Check and recheck your writing. Make sure that you've checked your grammar and spelling. Poor grammar and misspelled words can show that you're not attentive to details. You want to make sure you are accentuating the positive, not the negative. Check that your message is consistent throughout your proposal. Make your proposal easy to read and make sure it makes sense. As a failsafe, you may want to assemble a team of neutral individuals who can review your draft proposal to ensure that the writing is clear. Be concise but comprehensive. It's okay to bullet your points but not in all areas. Make sure you're answering questions completely. Keep your format style consistent. For example, use the same font throughout the proposal. Write as if you're talking to the person who is reading your proposal. This concludes the Tips for Writing Your Proposal training section. DIFTA hopes this training will be a useful tool for you as you pursue RFP submissions to the Department for the Aging. Thank you.